live, and I apologize for the lateness. I I went on a slight rant behind screens. You'll hear about it later. What is up? I hear that there was a prediction that shouldn't be predictions. Mando likes both chapters. Elijah likes one a lot, but finds the other somewhat boring. Well, you were kind of accurate. I did like both chapters, but the second chapter, I kind of the whole time was like, who are these people and where did they come from and why are we talking about them?
and I'm also confused about why they weren't in the second age part. Like, it just seems to fit the second age a little. I don't know. It was weird. It's a little out of left field.
Yeah. Morning, Roman. Morning, Rosie.
Hey,
Thanks for
girl.
the notification. What is up, Thad? Let's see. Jacob Ironside, what is up? The 9 have left Minas Morgul. They crossed the river Isen on Midsummer's Eve, disguised as riders in black. Yes. Let's see. Who else? Bob, what is up? Johnny64, what's up, dude? Am I missing anybody? Vardariana? Is that it?
Vardariana.
Vardariana. We're just gonna go with that. I'm so sorry.
I
know.
There you go.
Every week, every single time.
Every time. I feel so bad. She's like one of our best supporters, and I'm like, we can't say your name.
You're amazing. We love you. If I could give you a star or a cookie or something, I would. What is up, Kaylee? How are you doing? Roto, I knew it was Mando's fault. Yeah, Roto, we know. I can get to talking, and then things go sideways. Running late. Blame Malaysia since she's Gary's daughter. Cajun. I mean, the resemblance is uncanny, and she's wearing glasses. So, of course, everyone who wears glasses looks the same, right?
Right.
I wear glasses. I wear glasses as well, guys. It's just I'm wearing contacts right now, so people don't think that I'm related to everyone else who wears glasses. Oh goodness. So we do have some wonderful articles for you this morning. Which one do you want to talk about first, Elijah? The orcs that are going to be better than the Hobbit movie?
We can start there. I feel like, again, in the interest of balance, it's not a horrible thing to talk about. Let's see.
Because I mean, there is a comparison to be made there,
Yeah.
Close, thank you. So, Rings of Power, orcs, ads. Yes, I know I need a better computer. Go away, ads. The Rings of Power orcs are avoiding a crucial Hobbit mistake. Crucial, they say. So basically, the crucial mistake the Hobbit made in the design of its Middle-earth creatures. I actually didn't have a problem with Asgog. Is that how you say his name? I never pronounce it right. But I thought he looked...
I think so.
I thought he looked fine.
I mean, he was... They overplayed his character, but for being like the commander of the orcs, he was fine. I didn't have like a massive problem with him.
Bob Orcs, you mean those undead creatures? The ones that look like the vampire? Heck yeah, man. I'm a former glasses wearer, and I don't think all people who wear glasses look alike. I say that because whenever I wear my like black nerd glasses, I call them, because they're the big ones. They're like, oh, you remind me of so and so. And I look at the picture and they're wearing the same glasses. I was like, what? I wasn't able to read the second chapter because my thesis took up my attention, but I got the Fords of Isen read. Awesome. I hope that your thesis is doing well. Let's see. The Druedain chapter is basically background to explain who those people were because they helped Theoden and his army evade a giant orc army of Saruman's. Just classic Tolkien detailed. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely, positively. Like, the things that most of us would go, huh?
Yeah.
Why do we care? Tolkien's like, I must write this down. You must know about these people in this one sentence.
Exactly.
This one time I mentioned these people, I must write a whole backstory and biography and iconography of these people.
Right.
But the interesting part I did find, well, before, let's talk about the article because I do have some interesting thoughts on that.
Okay.
So thankfully, oh my God, Amazon is doing something right.
Amazon's here to save the day, guys. Don't worry.
Has taken the series in a direction that has avoided one of the mistakes of the Hobbit trilogy. The Hobbit films were released, blah blah prequel. Yes, Rings of Power is again a prequel to both trilogies, and
no,
will
it's
feature
not.
a lot. I know, right? They say it's a prequel, but it's actually not. It's its own thing. If I seem a little jittery, guys, it's because I made my coffee a little extra strong, guys. I'm sorry. And will feature a lot of familiar creatures and locations, blah blah. And the main mistake that Rings of Power seem to have avoided is the practicality. Basically, they're using prosthetic makeup as opposed to CGI. Bravo.
Yeah,
you're using real things.
Sorry, Rosie's being Rosie, and I wanted to respond to her. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, and what's what's so aggravating? I mean, like, a lot of those orcs were prosthetics in The Hobbit, but like they got too over the top with them, so that's why they had to go to CGI, which whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, stop acting like you're the first people to ever come up with this concept. Like that's what's so like. And again, you know, it's reading between the lines. They're discrediting everything Jackson's doing. Like that's what they're trying to do. That they're discrediting and rewriting history. That they're like saying like, you actually shouldn't think highly of Jackson's movies because we're going to do it so much better. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the subliminal messaging behind this kind of crap is that they are trying to downplay how important Jackson's trilogies are. I mean, I know we have our issues with The Hobbit, but again, I think we're going to feel a lot differently about them come September.
Oh yeah, Johnny, they're comparing the Lord of the Ring project to The Hobbit. Wow, talk about setting a bar low. Asgog was trash, by the way. Well, agree to disagree. I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was trash. I just thought he was okay. Looked like a PlayStation 3 video game boss. Hey, those are okay looking too. Lurch was way more intimidating. Dang it! Why can't we agree on this?
I do agree. I think Lutz was, or Lurtz, whatever the hell his name was. I thought his practical look was a lot better.
Absolutely. Rings of Power would be more interesting if Gil-galad was actually a Romulan who wants to be a Tolkien elf and tries to recreate Middle-earth on a whole holodeck without ever having read the books. That's such... I would pay money to see that. I would pay good money to see that.
Guys, we're just on the holodeck. Like, the Rings of Power, we're just on the holodeck. That's it.
Oh my God. Also watching with the sound off again. No worries, Rosie. We appreciate you. Rosie. We love you. I know you can't read. I don't know if you can read lips, but here's a heart. Let's see. The Thad in The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they had a huge armies of orcs, and they had to use CGI to make most of them, or they would have spent tens of millions on extras.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he looked better than Switch bosses at least. Man, yep. Dang it. But basically, the central upside of the prosthetics is they simply look better, guys. We need to do better, and this is us doing better than Peter Jackson and Tolkien while we're at it. I hate using that voice, but I'm so good at it. And they're saying that the prosthetics has gotten better since the 2000s. Really? I would hope so.
I know. I hope that's the whole point of art. You keep getting better.
Why would they put a picture of this guy? Like,
I know, like, but I'm sorry, nothing's ever going to top his look. Like, not even in my opinion, the Uruk-hai, like, that guy was so creepy.
Absolutely. And his eyes, like, look at those eyes. Like, I'll be honest, I'd pee my pants if I ever was caught in a dark alley with him at the end of it. I'd be like, ah!
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. The issue with a lot of Hobbit's creatures was how they impacted film series narrative and emotional stakes. Being completely CGI. Oh, basically they were saying that because it was all CGI, the orcs didn't look real, which is a valid criticism that a lot of fans have given the Hobbit series, is because the CGI was so heavy, the creatures didn't look real. They looked like they were ethereal, floating.
Yeah, they were too clean. They were just too
Mhm.
clean. You know, it's like I remember the Urukai for Helm's Deep. They literally got car oil and threw it at them. Like that's how
Mhm.
gross they were. Like that's disgusting. So they did. That was my huge issue with the orcs and the Hobbit. They just looked way too clean.
Yes. So the biggest reason is they want the emotional and narrative stakes of Lord of the Rings to be, or Rings of Prime to be better conveyed, avoiding one of the most maligned. Oh, they used a big word in this. Oh my god. Than the mistakes in the Hobbit trilogy. So basically, they're just like, look, we're using real prosthetics, and it's gonna be better because it's real.
You know, the thing is, oh god, like the symbolism of this. The thing is, with the Rings of Power, if they end up doing the orcs justice, but none of the good guys, I think that speaks volumes to where these people's hearts are. Like
They
they're the
care
only
more.
thing, yeah, about the epitome of pure evil and getting that look right than they do about Gil-galad.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna be talking about Gil-galad and Celebrimbor, but yeah, man, like if they care so, I guess it's because, and this is just me speculating on what their mindset could possibly be. Is I think that is one of the biggest criticisms that Hobbit's gotten, which in my opinion, it shouldn't be the most important, but it is one of the biggest ones. Was the CGI and how heavy it was.
Yeah.
So I can see where Rings of Power trying to discredit something, they'd be like, hey, this is the biggest mistake that they made. We're going to talk about that because that's what people seem to be caring about. When in actuality, the most important mistake was they made it into a freaking trilogy, and they added extra characters that nobody cared about, and they did extra things that nobody cared about. They completely like messed up. Like it should have been 2 films max.
They should have been 2 films max. And Tariel should never have been in there. We should not have been. As much as I enjoyed being in Thranduil's realm, we shouldn't have been there that long. Thranduil should never have been riding a moose. Like, yeah, there was just like, if you take like all of the films like and build up all these like little issues, it does. It become like, I mean, again, I watched the Hobbit trilogy for the White Council scenes. Like, I'm not even kidding. I will fast forward and find those scenes, just watch them. Because I love the White Council. Like, I think those are such good scenes, and it just sets like the depth of history for me, anyways, for Middle Earth. So like there is a like CGI, yeah, it was freaking annoying. Like Rivendell, you know, some of those shots didn't look like Rivendell because it wasn't, they were using the bigature, they were using CGI. So yeah, like it's just funny. They think that like, you think that was our only issue? Really?
Like what? Like, did you not pay attention to all of the other issues that we had? How they made one book into a trilogy that they shouldn't have, like what Rings of Power is about to do with 150 pages of material about to make it into a 5-season thing. Like, do they not understand they're doing the same things?
Right.
That was the least that was the least problems of the Hobbit. I can list a dozen other things ahead of CGI orcs. It's like saying a team lost the Super Bowl because they had cheapy enough Fords. Right? Well, I mean, even if they do some characters right, that wouldn't matter if the rest of the show is poo-poo. Yes. Thank you. We appreciate the tweeting out. Hi, Dawn. How are you? I guess the reasons why not to watch The Hobbit. Bardar said, I like Thranduil's moves.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, it was
his dramatic ass is like, I'm not riding a horse.
Hopefully y'all will get this is all the boy moose go win.
You have to do that the minute I put my straw in my mouth.
I mean, I'm sorry. I just had to, but every time I can't. That's why I can't watch The Hobbit all the way, because every time he's this glistening, like, ethereal figure, and all I can think of is that line from this
Holy Lord. All right.
sorry guys. I know. This is it's like making a Harry Potter show and then bragging about how it compares to Fantastic Beasts instead of actual Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings sets a standard that they aren't even trying to reach.
We're not going to win
That's
this
a
battle with
freaking
Johnny.
movie.
Johnny's like, no, we will not like The Hobbit.
No matter if we dislike this, The Hobbit will always be bad. But now we know that there's a level below bad. There is atrocious.
Yes.
There's
a nightmare level.
If I were advising them, I would have said make 2 movies out of The Hobbit. First one ends with Smaug. Second one, Battle of 5 Armies. Then take the White Council stuff and make a Quest for Erebor movie. Yes. Heck yeah. Thranduil's moose was a horse named Bull.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
it was a draft horse. It was a Shire because it's the only horse big enough to do it, and his name was Bull. I'm not even kidding.
Random Hobbit trivia. Hey, no worries. Oh man, I mean the Hobbit will be gold compared to this crap. I'll agree with you there, Mando. Yep. The elk is a horse named Moose. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's try and move on from the moose talk. I'm sorry.
Before we get even more derailed.
You will never watch the Hobbit movies again now without hearing that. You're welcome for those of you who already hate the Hobbit movies. Okay. So when I read this about Celebrimbor, the actor didn't diss. He just said that Celebrimbor was more or less like a recluse, not many people skills, cared more about himself than others. I'm just like, that's how he was, though. Is that really a diss?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I got the sense that Celebrimbor was somewhat of a recluse. He liked being in his forge. He liked being with the dwarves. I mean, that's the whole reason Holly was built. It was right outside. It wasn't far from the west gate of Khazad-dûm. I mean, that's the whole reason, the gate, his name's on there. So yeah, I mean, I've always gotten the sense that Celebrimbor was like maybe a tad bit socially awkward.
Right. I love, because this just came out like the other day. After a long period of secrecy, we're finally getting juicy details. That sounds like a nasty reporter. That's exactly how a nasty reporter would start their article. About who forged the tutelar rings. Ooh, using big words again. Charles Edwards giving more details. What we were spoiled with. Let's see. Okay, talking about he was only mentioned, but he plays a bigger production or bigger part in this thing. The other one, appendices. Okay. Oh my god, there's a blueprint, but there hasn't been any coloring it in, and it's down to me and everyone else to create him.
What? Excuse me? What? You're kidding, right?
Huh? I mean, when you don't have access to this,
but he's mentioned appendices.
He is, but basically they're saying he was only like a footnote in the appendices. Like, he wasn't mentioned that much. I'm like, how much do you need to know about him? Like, really?
That's just BS.
Imagine a Quest for Erebor movie that ends with a fantastic battle at Dol Guldur between Sauron and the White Council. Why am I saying council? My redneck's coming through. I'm sorry. He has a fainting couch. Oh my god, these notifications go away. Stop it. There we go.
Oh yeah, okay, Rosie, I saw that Celebrimbor has a chaise lounge. It's like a freaking fainting couch in his forge. I heard about this. I didn't research it though.
I guess I didn't read it in this article, but maybe it's in there.
Like, yeah, there's like at some point someone said that he has a fainting couch. I'm not even kidding. In his forge. I'm not joking. I saw it somewhere.
What is this, the Renaissance? Are we in the Renaissance?
Well, a man shouldn't need a fainting couch. So,
I mean, for those of you who might slight side rabbit trail. The reason for fainting couches was because women had corsets that were too tight and they would literally start suffocating and they'd faint because if they got excited, they needed to breathe, they couldn't, they just faint. That's what a fainting couch is for. Excuse me, I don't see him wearing a corset. That's not anyway. So the regal elf responsible. Okay, sorry, I'm making fun of it too much. Explaining what Celebrimbor is like to play. God, English words, please. Edwards calls him cautious, gullible, vain, and a brilliant craftsman, as you might expect. And he can be a bit of a user, but he can also be used. Continues, he's proud, he prefers seclusion, he's not a people person, and he's not terribly socially interested. He can be quite blunt, he's very ambitious, colossally ambitious. Oh, we get a picture of
him and Elrond.
Not Elrond. I mean,
yeah.
We mentioned Elrond.
It's Romulan Elrond. I'm sorry. This is right. Like I am running with this now. It's a holodeck program. This is what this is. It's a holodeck program. So that's Romulan Elrond.
But these descriptors, like, I mean, that sounds like most of Tolkien's characters in the First and Second Age, if we're just being honest.
Yeah, it sounds terribly bland.
Like, he's the villain who's not a villain. Is that kind of what they're trying to say?
It could be.
He's the. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. And they chose someone who's so freaking old. I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to paint him as like this washed out, tired, incompetent person who like got taken in by an evil person. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he literally, I mean, he looks like a washed up politician. I feel like they are going for a particular look for a reason.
See, Celebrimbor ruled a whole city and region in Gil-galad's name. The dude did like a boss, never breaking into Sauron's torture. Yeah, the only for somebody who could withstand like torture from Sauron and not give in, like, this is a bad dude.
Right.
The show will be indeed legendary. Romulan. Yep. I wonder if they found a warehouse full of unused Romulan ear prosthetics from Star Trek and just decided to use them for the show.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
be surprised.
When someone points it out, you can't unsee it. Though I'm not even trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be sassy. They look like Romulan ears. They do. I just go back and watch Next Generation. I mean, they look like, I'm sorry, they look like Romulans.
They do.
I can't get over it.
And like this whole scene where Celebrimbor encourages and assists Elrond to visit Khazad-dûm, something he never actually did, as far as I'm aware of. Like, and then, but he has ulterior motives. I'm assuming those are ulterior motives are to give the rings to the dwarves, possibly. I don't know, or to steal their secret of forging. But
why would he need to go? Because he's in Holly. He's like a day's ride from the west gate of Moria.
And he's supposed to have a good relationship with the dwarves at this period of time, right?
Yeah, like a really good one.
He could just walk into their doors and be like, hey, what's up, dudes? I'm making something. Can you guys help me? Give me some ideas?
Like, literally, hold on.
They are early Romulans too when they first split from the Vulcans. Now I got to go back and watch some classic Star Trek. Yeah, do it, Dawn.
I might do that today. I might throw on.
I've actually never seen classic Trek.
See, I haven't either, which is so sacrilege of me. I'm a huge Star Trek normie, but my aunt adored it. Like, that was her fandom. Like, if my aunt had been born in this day and age, she would probably have the largest Star Trek YouTube of anyone. Like, that's how much she loves Star Trek. She cosplayed before cosplaying was cool. Like, I'm not even kidding.
That's awesome.
But like my favorite era, and I know Gary would probably rake me over the coals for this.
Oh, we're starting. They're like, what?
I know
What?
everyone's gonna be so salty. As my favorite era is Voyager. Like I love Captain Janeway. She is like I love Voyager so much. I watched that series like so many times. I might throw that on today.
Sauron as Anasor is supposed to teach Celebrimbor and his Smith ring lore. Right. But it's not like Celebrimbor was completely novice at forging items. He had been already forging items for thousands of years. It's just the specific type of ring craft that Sauron was, or Anatar was teaching him, was something that he didn't know. But I don't know, it just seems weird.
Yeah, I think Celebrimborn's gonna be some shady guy. And I'm really sorry about how I'm gonna put some DW40 on this damn chair.
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah, I have a feeling that Celebrimborn will kind of be the epicenter for political. Never seen that.
Just wanting to fit in, Johnny. I see how it is. What?
Oh, so you're a crowd follower. Is that what it is, Johnny? How dare you?
Excuse me, Picard is obviously the best captain, though. I still slightly prefer the original series.
Hey, I like Picard. I do. I love Janeway's like tenacity. She's like, we will live. I love Jane. I don't know. I just love Janeway. What was I saying? Oh, I think that Celebrimborn and Holly, right? It's Holly, right? Yeah. I think Holly will be like some sort of weird epicenter for some sort of political BS that like is going to upset the Elven realms. Like I don't know. I just have a feeling that like the way that they're painting Celebrimbor, it's like I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I can't tell. I can't say. So feel free to correct me in the chat if I'm off here. Just seems like there's going to be some weird political maneuvering that's going to be reminiscent of Game of Thrones, and Celebrimbor will be the epicenter for that.
Right. Dawn, I do forget that some of you are years younger than me. Just a smidge, Dawn. What? I have no knowledge of Star Trek. I'm just copying. Yep, beta male confirm. You caught me. Oh my god. Anyway, the first season of Rings of Power will explore Celebrimbor's alliance with the dwarves, with this realm of Eregion, situated close to Khazad-dûm, better known as Moria. So basically, Celebrimbor encourages Elrond to visit Khazad-dûm to court dwarves. Why would he need to court the dwarves? Why? So it's a time of peace, and Celebrimbor has a great respect for them. So is this where? Are they going to explore the beginnings of Celebrimbor's relationship with the dwarves? Like, I don't understand why he would need to court the dwarves if he already is supposed to have a great working relationship with them. I don't understand. Like,
I don't understand either. And again, I'm also so checked out. I'm like, who cares? But I mean, it's possible. I wonder if they're going to. You know what they could do? Because again, all they can do is recycle stuff. That's the whole point of Arondir and Bronwyn and their relationship. It's a recycled Bannern and Luthien. What they might be gearing up to do is recycle Doriath and Thingol's relationship with the dwarves. That something's happened to put a wedge in between that relationship, and that like since apparently now Elrond is just a diplomat. Again, this is Star Trek. We're literally talking about Star Trek. Since Elrond is just a diplomat, they might be getting ready to say, like, establish that Celebrimbor is sending Elrond to Moria to fix whatever mistake has been had. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So Thad sent me something on Twitter. I'm going to show it to all of you.
Oh my god. Dude,
thank you, Thad. I don't know Star Trek, so I didn't. I just Those are the ears. Those are the ears.
Thad, can you send that to me? I want to tweet that out and put like a side by side comparison. That's literally what they are. They're Romulans. It's not even funny.
Yep.
They just are. So in any case,
Thank you.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying thank you, Thad. There were, hold on, there were 2 new ones, right? I lost track. Lost track of what? I think I've lost track of things.
So I think she's talking about the Star Trek movies.
Oh, the movies. Okay. Vars, like, because they want a courtship, frankly, my dear, they don't give a damn. Yep, focus back on Lord of the Rings. Bob, we are doomed.
Remember, guys, it's just a holodeck series. That's all this is. It's a poorly constructed holodeck series.
Hey, it's just I can't even say it with a straight face. It's just fan fiction, guys. It's not real. It's just fan fiction. This gives fan fiction a bad name, okay? I can't even say it with a straight face. Anyway, all right, let's talk about Benjamin Walker with Romulan Gil-galad. That's
Punchsicle.
That's a spear.
Literally a. And okay. Oh my God. Hold. Just. His spear does not look like that. His spear does not look like that. It is. It's back there. I don't want to pull it out because that guy's kind of delicate and I don't want to pull out his hand. But it's not what Gil-galad's spear looks like. I'm sorry, but that ain't it. That ain't it.
Oh God. But basically Benjamin Walker on his role in the Lord of the Rings brings power to the king, the kind of, oh, I thought it said king of elvish, kind of the kind of elvish? What is that supposed to mean? What? Okay. Anyway, he looks like Caesar.
He does.
I feel like there is literally a low budget movie that talks about the life of Caesar that I remember seeing somewhere that was like in the 80s or 90s. Granted, I was born in the early 90s, but I saw 80s stuff. Like, this looks like a low budget 80s movie character.
It does. And I want to share because I quote tweeted this. European Lore tweeted out this exact, so we can go through the article. Well, okay. So look, okay. So I said he's a poorly dressed Roman Empire with a Vulcan ambassador, but look what Rachel put out. Bruh, that's not an elf, that's a vampire. Rachel won the internet that day.
It does. It does.
That's a vampire from Twilight.
He looks like the Volturi. He looks like the Volturi. Yes, I read the books and watched all the movies. Shush, you can judge me silently. I went through the phase too.
But I think that Lily had a good take is that like this fabric literally looks like it's from the Joanne section of
cosplay stores. I've seen cosplayers who can do better than this. One of my friends is a cosplayer. Like, actually, I have several friends who are cosplayers, but one of my IRL friends who's going to be making a costume for me next year when I go to the Ren Fair, like, she has better fabric than this.
Yeah, I can't fathom. I can't believe that someone in post was like, looked at this and was like, yep, that looks good. Who thought that shiny, crinkly material? I mean, if you want to bring up the article again, it looks like tinfoil almost. It does look tinfoil because think of that beautiful red outfit that Elrond was wearing during the Council of Elrond. I mean, oh my gosh, that was probably my favorite outfit of his. Just think of how like just ethereal all of the male elves looked. I mean, set aside Arwen and Galadriel just for a second. I mean, the male elves always looked so just like cut.
We lost Mando. Yeah, my brain had to take a good second to read that. Like, what? Sorry. Literally my brain turned off for a second. I was just because I couldn't understand. Everyone's laughing. Yeah, Rachel is spot on with the memes. Speaking of vampires, did you see the tweet of the guy saying vampires have anti-Semitic roots?
I did not. That's okay. Odd. Yeah, people, man. So anyways, I just like, yeah, these like, oh my God, look how shiny that is. He looks so gay.
He's Gil-galad. Oh my God. I'm Gil-galad. I am here for this, girl. Like, you have no idea.
There's nothing, and you know what's I can't even and maybe, okay, Johnny's here. I'm gonna stop sharing this if you want to go back to the article, but like Elrond and Celebrimbor, Celeborn never did not look masculine. And I can't put my finger on it, like why Gil-galad looks so damn gay. And like I'm thinking back to Elrond and I'm like, I never felt like that with him. I never felt that like all of the male elves were anything but masculine. And I literally can't put my finger on it. I don't know why, but this does not look masculine.
Agreed, Rosie. The gold is lame. It's supposed to be gold silk, but it doesn't read as that in the photos. That's because they aren't using actual, like, if that was literally like silk with like gold infused strands, like it would look very different. It would look normal. It would look natural. It would look silky and smooth. Like that just looks cheap.
It does look cheap. It looks like it's from Joann's. I'm sorry, it just does.
He looks like he forgot where he put his car keys. I bet you, as he was taking the picture with the spear, he's probably like, "Where are my car keys?"
Yeah, honey, call my phone.
Speaking of, there is a tweet I think that his wife does. Where is it? I saw. No, it's Ooh, what the heck? Go away. It was actually, I think, the OneRing.net that retweeted something his wife tweeted. It's like, oh my gosh, my husband's the king.
Bully for
but
you.
We don't need to bring that up. Counted as one of the most influential characters, has a poem written about him. Yes. It's got kind of this elfish Spidey sense of impending rebirth of evil. Oh my god, he's Spider-Man.
Oh, and then is it in here that his the sides of his heads are shaved? The side of his head. So he literally has an SJW female cut. The European lore tweeted that out.
I think I did remember seeing that. Find him at the beginning of season 1, in a time of peace. But for Gil-galad, that means something entirely different. What? Okay. Peace and liberty requires constant vigilance. He's playing a long chess game. Okay. Talking him up. Fought against Sauron with the elves and men, ultimately losing his life. However, it takes place Second Age. Yes, we're aware. We're going to get to see him as a warrior, looking like he's gay and lost his car keys. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But he's a politician in the sense that But he's a politician in the sense that we wish we had. He attempts to bring out the best in all of us so that when we do need to come together, we can. Oh, I wonder who they're targeting.
No kidding.
Oh, trusting people must overcome. Yep. Has to live his own, as parents do. Yes. We don't care about it. Okay, so they're going to keep the strong bond with Elrond. I wonder how that's going to go.
Johnny, I love how throughout the entire history of every universe and multiverse, people have been getting the SJW haircut. Yep. Now
right.
Has one.
And the sad thing is closest we'll actually get to looking like an elf.
Yep, that's it. Gil-galad's
Spidey sense. Yup. Did they even read the material they licensed? Sauron began waging war on the elves and men sometimes between Second Age 500 and Second Age 1000. Right?
I don't know. I just don't even I just can't get over how bad he looks. Like, if that's the best. And again, this goes back to what I was saying about the orcs. Like, if the orcs are the only thing that they can get right, if that's the thing that we praise about this show is that the orcs look correct, I think that speaks volumes about where they are.
So this is I've got my other PC up with the talking about Gil-galad and his spear. So it basically says Gil-galad wields a well-made spear. The orc will fear my point of ice. When he sees me in fear of death, he will know my name, Agalos. That's what they're referring to as far as his spear. Mm-hmm. That don't look like no spear to me. That just looks like a pointy stick. Granted,
Yeah.
some people would say spears are just pointy sticks, and I understand that. But they could have a better pointy stick.
That's all Elrond had to take back to Rivendell with him. I mean, if you look, I think it's a very brief moment when I can't remember who it was that was walking, and I literally don't remember if it was The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But if you there's a pan through Elrond's library, you can see his shield and his spear standing up in the like. That's how much Elrond cared about him, that he took his spear and his shield home with him. So it's propped up in his library. But it did not look like that. Oh, Lord.
Someone on Twitter pointed. They're just making it up as they go. Yep. Looks like it can be broken by a 5-year-old. I know, right? It looks so delicate and dainty. It looks like a big butter spreader. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it the Rings of Prime Gil-galad butter spreader. Because that's what his costume doesn't look like. It's gold. It looks like butter. The color of butter.
Does look like butter.
Gil-galad's butter costume with his butter spreading pointy thing.
Yeah. Well, shall we move on to the book, because we could be here all day with all this crap.
Right. I just wanted to bring up those 3 articles I thought were interesting, that the actors had takes on their characters and what Amazon Prime is going to be doing
with their holodeck series. The holodeck series. I want this to stick. Start tweeting this out. It's a holodeck series.
Butter guy. Yes. Can't believe it. Can't believe it's not Butter Poster Child.
Well done. Well done.
See, they need to hire me for they need to hire me. I would do better for their campaign. I'd be memeing it all the time. Be like, here's the memes. The Rings of Pride. Yup. Butter boy. Yes. Okay. Anyway, the Battle of the Fords of Isen. Let's get to actual good Tolkien stuff and not this fake stuff that tries to have Tolkien's name on it like a corpse. I mean, anyway. Sorry, my contacts are like clouding up because I'm laughing too much. See, guys, we can have fun with this. We can have fun here. So, what was your kind of take of the Fords of Isen? So let's start there.
You know, I thought it was like, again, I love the Two Towers, but I do struggle with it because I'm like, how long has all this been going on? Like, it's kind of hard for me to establish the timeline of when like things start heating up in Rohan and Gondor. Like, I struggle with that aspect. I just don't think it out quite as well, because again, he knows the source material so well. It's just like I think he forgets to sometimes inform the reader of like what's going on. So I really appreciated that, like, because when we get to Isen, and I literally can't remember if it's Grimbold or Elfhelm that we meet as they're going to Helm's Deep. I honest to God don't remember, but
I don't either. I couldn't remember. Yeah, for the life of me, I was like, I don't remember who it was, because I didn't really remember their names popping up a lot on the Two Towers.
And the thing is, it's like Aramir actually is at Helm's Deep. I think it's Grimbold that Gandalf has to go and find to get the reserve of the Eored. Like, that's who shows up that morning. It's not Aramir, but again, that's why they switched it, because they would have had to establish who Grimbold is. Like, that just would have been ridiculous. So we have a never mind. But so I thought it was interesting that like we finally understand like how long Rohan's been holding this line, like with the shield wall and everything. Like that shield wall, I was like envisioning this massive, like, because the Eored, right, was about 8,000 strong or somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000. So you've got a shield wall of an Eored. That's pretty impressive. So I thought like it's interesting. I was like, oh, okay, I finally get it. This is how long Rohan's, and this like shows how important that river is, and that like and there's a reason why both Gondor and Rohan were failing in their vow to get to help the other, because they were both like just barely hanging on. So I liked it for that aspect. It made that whole chapter in The Lord of the Rings so much clearer that like this is, and that like Theodred died here. Like I enjoyed it for that aspect, definitely.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like it gives so much more, I guess, enlightened to how much the King Theoden was failing. Because when
Yeah.
you see in the movies, like, we understand he's basically more or less decrepit old man, but he's actually not really a decrepit old man, because he was like 60 something, and they lived to be 80 something
Yeah.
easily. But also like just where he was failing, because like his people loved him, and it makes sense now, like, why so many people were so loyal to him, but also at the same time hated what was going on, and just how much the Rohirrim line was crumbling because their king was literally being taken over by Saruman. Like, it gives I guess a whole new light to just how much he was failing at that moment, and how quick he was to bounce back. Like, that was fast. He bounced
That
back
was
and he's like,
fast.
okay, let's go.
It was. It was. Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Well, and that you understand, Théoden didn't die by chance. He died for a reason. It was literally to sow that dissension because him and Éomer were so close. Théoden was targeted, and I thought that was interesting. That like Saruman went out of his way to make sure that Théoden died. I mean, obviously, you want to kill the heir to the throne. I mean, that makes perfect total sense. But like Grima was like, he has to die in order for me to get Éomer out of the way, because he saw them both as like such a big threat.
Yeah, I mean, they were. Like, we see later on, even though Theoden unfortunately did pass away, like, Éomer just, like, took up the mantle and just was doing his duty. And I think it just shows the courage and the valiance. I don't know the proper terminology. Just how valiant the men of Rohan still were. Like, they
Absolutely.
were fighting tooth and nail, and then Gondor calls for aid. Like, it's not, they're just sitting around and then Gondor calls for aid. No, they had been fighting at tooth and nail, exhausted. And then Gondor's like, hey, we also need help. And they're like, let's go.
Yeah. They're like, bruh, we'll get there when we can. Like, we got our own shit to fight. And I think it's also like, I mean, I'm a horse girl. My mom had a horse, and I've ridden for a good portion of my life. I'm absolutely a horse girl. It breaks my heart to think, like, the reason you have to wonder of, like, when in the Return of the King, when Theoden is like, where are the riders from Snowbourn? When reading this, like, that was it Grimbold? I think it was Grimbold or Elfhelm, the one who was like holding the line of that shield wall, like, barely had any horses left. I mean, you can't just train it. Like, you can't just get on a horse and expect it to be a war horse out of, like, that takes training, that takes time. And the fact that, like, they were, like, barely clinging to what horses they had when, like, these people's culture revolves around their horses. I was like, oh my God, so heartbreaking.
Like, but also understand, like, why you get more context into why Théoden was confused, because I don't think he fully, whenever he was under Saruman's control, realized his son died. Most of his forces are demolished. Granted, I don't think we really get much about his grieving process for his son, though. Like, I wonder, because, like, all of that had to really hit him at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's one part that the movie did really good, is showing that horrible grief, and that we understand a lot of Theoden's motivation is because he's lost his son. Morning, dear.
Hi, A2.
Yeah, it very much is like, I don't know, and it could be like that, Tolkien, again, being in the trenches and understanding warfare, and like, when you're in a do or die situation, that like Theoden had to put his emotions on lockdown. Like, yes, I just lost my son, but I have to get up and be king again. Like, I don't know. Because Theoden also died like such a valiant death, like, he refused to leave Isen until reinforcements got there.
Sorry, I'm looking at something. Sorry. But yeah. Rosie said something about
Oh, I have to see this. Did she tag us? I want to tag. Oh, okay.
I think
Can't believe it's not butter. You know you've made it when people start memeing your stream. Mascot action figures now comes with a giant butter spreader. That is gold, Rosie.
Do you want to share it? Because like I can't.
Yes.
Like it's.
I will share it. Hold on. Let's see. There you go.
Oh, okay, I just retweeted it. There we go. Yeah, you found it faster than I did. Can't believe it's not butter. Mascot action. Someone needs to tag Nerdrotic.
Here, I'll do it. I'm gonna tag. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tag Gary. Do
it. Oh man, he's gonna love it. Thank you, Rosie. Let's see. Oh, Sauron is continually at war with Gondor, but it's slow burn until everyone discovers that the ring is in play, and that has Gandalf, Sauron all drastically escalated events. Butterboy.
And okay, like going back, like changing topics a little bit. I thought it was also interesting that we get more of the Dunlendings, and like that burning of the Westfold. I'm like, oh, makes more sense now.
Yes.
So like, and you know, and here's the thing. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize I just. You guys had to watch me type. Sorry about that. Here's the thing, and I said this with when we were reading. I honestly, I don't remember if it was in this or the Silmarillion, but that the Númenóreans came in and like basically cut down. This book cut down everybody's tree. They were like, they just came in and like swept these people out of the way because they thought they were like a little inferior. And I was like, that's an interesting concept to play off of. That can show that the Númenóreans, the Gondorians, they're not as perfect as we all think they are. Are they the good guys? Yes. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Like, same thing. They could have played on the fact that Rohan and the Riddermark were not as these perfect people, that they kind of did like manifest destiny and they were like, get out of our way. We're taking your land. That's an interesting concept to play off of. It complicates the story. And like, again, Tolkien put that in there for a reason. He wanted to show that humans are complicated and that they make mistakes. That would have been a very interesting concept to play off of. But again, we're not going to get that. But yeah, I thought that the Dunlending chapter made a lot of sense and set a lot of like it just made the burning of the Westfold a lot clearer.
And like why Rohan gave Orthanc, right? That's the tower.
Yeah.
Orthanc to Saruman. They're like, Saruman's like, yeah, I'll help you guys. They're like, please, thank you. Here you go.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and it gets back to also like this idea of like why I am blanking on the name. The guys who have the Oliphants sided with Sauron because the Númenóreans kicked them out of their land. It just so much of that makes sense, you know?
Yes. For sure. There's more to that. Probably some more one story that he was part of it.
Absolutely.
Yes, Don. That is definitely worthy of a follow.
Yes. Rosie gets go show Rosie some love for that tweet.
Yes.
That and Bardariana's I got it that time. Bardariana's, I loved her too.
Oh man, yes. But yeah, it just goes to show like, and then the when we were talking about which I really feel like, yeah, they should have done the Druedain like closer. Like it I mean, granted they are right after each other as far as chapters, but like it goes to part 4, then the Druedain. Like I was like, I feel like because they talk about things kind of before Saruman like really turns evil, I feel like that lays the groundwork for understanding like the people's mindset. Like they'd been at war with a lot of different people in this particular area. And they needed help, and Saruman was like, I will help you. And it was, I think, a lot of what Tolkien said was he hadn't quite turned to evil, and he didn't have evil intentions for Orthanc at that time. He legitimately wanted to help defend it, or defend Rohan and stuff. And then being cooped up in your room alone with a a seeing stone can do things to you, man.
Right.
um
Real quickly before we moved on to the in the appendices for the battles of Fords of Isen, so in Appendix F, there's a note on page 385 that the Dunlendings were a remnant of the peoples who had dwelt in the vales of the White Mountains in ages past. The dead men of Dunharrow were their kin, which I believe that's the dead that Aragorn has to go and get. So yeah, like that's the Oathbreakers. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that like these people overall are just as a society are salty with Rohan. And obviously not the like, but also, I mean, like if the Oathbreakers are their kin, that shows that they're not they're not the cream of the crop. So like again, it's an interesting dynamic to play off of. It's interesting to see who's who and how Tolkien envisioned how these cultures would play out next to each other. You know what I mean?
Right. And my brain. Yeah, we were talking about. I need more coffee. My brain's failing me. But yeah, like I know that the majority of quote unquote normies out there won't care about who the Dunlendings are or who the Druedain are. Probably saying that wrong. My apologies. But like, we need to start caring about things like this because that's where people like Amazon and other companies they use that ignorance to their advantage. That they don't understand. They realize that most people don't know like books like this exist. That like most normies, like if you just go up to somebody who like just a person off the street, and you ask them how many books did Tolkien write? I've seen the movies, so I assume like 6.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, that's ignorance is what causes stuff to be made wrong.
Oh, that's weird, Rosie.
What happened?
Bizarre. She got kicked out of the live stream.
I didn't kick anybody.
YouTube might be salty or something.
Salty YouTube. I don't care, you salty YouTube. But anyway, either way, I'm 4 away from 100 subscribers. If anyone wants to hit the button. Anyway, but yeah, like I also liked where they added the timelines of when the Rohirrim kind of pushed the Dunlendings out and like why they were where they were. And yeah. Do you have any more to add to that? That my overall kind of like when I was reading it was like, okay, cool. We get the War of the Field, we get a couple of battles that were just specifically with Saruman because like in the movie it just shows that Saruman kind of like we just see the Battle of Helm's Deep. We don't realize that Helm's Deep that was actually like the second battle of Helm's Deep technically with Saruman. Like that I thought that was cool and like why Rohan's people were just so decimated by the time that we get to Helm's Deep and the battle of the Pelennor Fields and all of that. Like they were just exhausted and decimated. So
one thing actually, now that you asked me, yes, there is something I want to point out. That like because again it's as readers and as a viewer, it's easy for us to be like, why didn't Gandalf go wake up the Ents? Like, why didn't Gandalf do something? Why didn't he go track to Treebeard when he obviously has a relationship with him? In note 16, it says, as the narrative suggests, Gandalf may have already made contact with Treebeard and knew that the patience of the Ents was at an end. And he may have also read the meaning of Legolas's words, which I would have to get my book in order to do so. Isengard was veiled in impending shadow, and the Ents had already surrounded it. But there goes. Okay, so it goes on to say something. Is it? Hold on. Was I smart and marked it? Is this what this little note is for. Nope. They, like at one point, I think later in a different note or in the appendices itself, it literally says that like, Gandalf was like, that Tolkien's thinking was why Gandalf didn't do that is because they're like, yeah, they would have gone into Utterest and just destroyed it. Like that that's how pissed off the Ents were, and that Gandalf like deliberately did not stroke that fire because he knew that they would go onto Edoras and like decimate it. So like obviously again he was using the hobbits to keep that flame in check. Like he knew that Merry and Pippin were capable of what they were doing. And so that I thought that was really interesting because it's also because it's like yeah because like it literally I think in here somewhere it said that like if Gandalf had done that so like the Ents would have stopped Sauron from sending the army to Helm's Deep, but he didn't. Like he did, but there was a reason for that. So
Right.
yeah, Helm's Deep was awful, and fighting 10,000 Uruk-hai is never anybody's ideal situation. But like Gandalf wasn't ignoring the Ents. He's like, we need them to destroy something very specifically. We don't need them destroying all of Rohan.
Right, yeah. We don't want all of Rohan to be destroyed.
Yes.
The Butterhelms trained for years. I'm sorry. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The butter elves trained for years to spread their butter perfectly with their giant butter spreader.
You're welcome, guys.
Yes. Don, YouTube doesn't like the meme, I guess, but it's on Twitter, so they shouldn't care. Or do they? Yep, they care. They know. Well, this Normie is not watching Rings of Power. I suffered enough with Kenobi.
Yes. Good job, Don.
Good job. But yeah, like just understanding like Gandalf's perspective and then understanding why certain things happened the way they did, because I feel like so many people do take for granted how much Gandalf was working behind the scenes and understood like the fuller picture. Like we as the viewer like don't see everything until usually like later on when Gandalf's explaining, oh yes, this is why I did this thing, oh yes, that thing was done this way. And sometimes we didn't even get that, but that's why I like the Unfinished Tales, is because we get these glimpses into Gandalf's mind, quote unquote Tolkien's mind, about like why certain things happened the way they did and how much power Gandalf actually had. And I'm, side note, I actually have my Streamlabs up and I see a donation. Thank you, Var, $5. You ladies are awesome. Donation is also for your book fund. Yay! My book fund. Awesome. Because I only have the first 2 of the 13 histories, and I still plan on going through the 13 histories, and they're kind of getting more expensive. Because last I looked, they were like supposed to be like $5 or $6, and then I looked 2 days ago, and they were like double the price, and I was like, ah!
Sorry.
It's okay. So thank you. I much appreciate it. Because like I am buying more books. That's one stack, and I've got another stack. But you can't find the 13 histories at any normal thrift store. So
yeah, they're super rare. They're like you have to buy them online.
Which is poop. Anywho, so I guess we can move on to the Dunedain.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. My understanding and view of the Dunedain is, oh, they're cute little dwarfs that like rocks more than dwarfs do, and they're kind of ugly.
Yeah, they have glowing red eyes for some bizarre reason.
Right.
Yes.
As far as a overall descriptor of this little chapter, it was these are short little stumpy people that have been around since the First Age, and we're technically actually in Numenor, but knew better than the Numenorians, and they love rocks a lot.
Kinda, and can talk to them apparently.
Basically. When you read all the material put together, Gandalf was not just doing some specific things for 100 years preceding the War of the Ring. He was manipulating events to ensure optimal outcomes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I really, in this particular chapter, I thought it was super interesting that they actually went to Numenor as well. Like this
Yeah.
group of people was in Numenor.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when they name marriage counseling dude when he started going
Yes.
to go, they're like, no, he shouldn't be doing that, bad things are gonna happen. And then like neither his wife nor his father could convince him, and so they were like, we're jumping ship
We out.
now.
We out. They just left.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the people were like, you guys don't like to sail, you don't like water, why are you asking to sail to Middle Earth? They're like, we want to go home.
Yeah, we're going home. Yeah, it's weird. Like, and the like, is in the Silmarillion they call them the Pukelmen.
I know, right? I'm like, how many names do these people have?
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was God. That guy caused so much damage. He was like, it was such an interesting chapter, but man, he caused a lot of problems, and man, he's important. I'm sorry, he is an important character. Love or hate him, he's an important character.
Right. I feel you, Mando, but I thought that was just the problem in my country. Zero Tolkien books outside of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Glad it's not. Nah, it's hard to find. Out of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion, and maybe The Unfinished Tales, like, it's hard to find anything Tolkien wrote. Again,
it's incredible I found that whole series. Like, it's incredible that I've got, like, even the index. I got the index of the Peoples of Middle Earth. Like, that is... I'm really proud of myself. I found the complete set.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Who talks to rocks? They are called the Druedain.
Yeah.
I know it could be confused with the Dunedain, but it's the Druedain.
Yeah. And they're also called the Pukelmen.
Yeah.
I know not why.
So the kind of a little bit more in detail, the description of these are short, wide, like abnormally wide little people, but they are not related to hobbits in any way. They don't have much hair besides like little scraggly bits on their head, and sometimes they can grow like scraggly little beard. Mm-hmm. They've got red eyes, but they're men. They're not dwarves. They're not hobbits. They are a race of men, but they hate other men because they were one of the only races of men when encountering Melkor that were like, nah, man, I ain't about that life.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm out. I'm going that way.
And then they see the exact same thing in Norman and are like, nah, we're going home. Something's bad's coming.
I mean, if the Numenorians, like, if they really knew the history of these people and realized, like, from the very beginning, these people knew they had, like, to quote the stupid Rings of Prime article, they had a spidey sense. Now I'm never going to want to use that word again, and I love Spider-Man. Anyway, they have, like, a sixth sense for danger. You would think that as Numenorians, when the people that you know have a sixth sense for danger are like, nah, man, I'm out. I'm off this island. You'd be like, why are they all wanting to get off the island?
But, like, I mean, sorry, by this point, Numenor, I don't think is known for its wisdom.
Right. After the Sea Voyager man who needed some marriage counseling, I think... Yeah, I remember we had made that statement before, like, that was kind of the beginning of the end.
It was the beginning of the end. It really, truly was. Because his daughter is like, Gil-galad, you're on your own. His daughter is like, nah, we're not going back.
Right. The rocks told them. Yes, Jacob, that's kind of the vibe that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and they're like, and yeah, and like there's a tiny little short story in here that I didn't absorb very well. But like, yeah, they've got this like intimate relationship with rocks, like even more so than the dwarves. Like they literally, I'm not joking when I say they talk to them.
Right. So the little short story that's in here, so basically they got their, I guess, carving skill from the elves or the dwarves. Like it's kind of, I think it's the dwarves.
Yeah, I think it was the dwarves.
So they get this ability like to be skilled carvers, skilled masons, I guess is probably the better word, where they can make statues like extremely lifelike statues to the point where you look at it, you think you're talking to a person, but it's a rock. Like people, men, elves, and dwarves would look at these rocks and think they were talking to people, and it wasn't them. Or sometimes, one of their skills is they can sit still so that like they can sit so still that they look like they are a rock.
Yeah, like people pass them by and think they're statues.
Right. And one of the stories was there was a guy that was traveling, and he was traveling to a place, and when he on his way there he ran into these two statues, or what he thought were people at first, and he was like, hello, how are you? And no one responded, so he's like, oh, I guess these are just statues, and moved on. And then when he came back, there was a storm, and he went to sit down by one of the statues, and it was actually a person. Like, he fell asleep, and the person the next day is like, hey man, why don't you actually sit, in front of the statue, because I'm actually a person and you're kind of like sweating on me.
Yeah, it's gross. Can you move your cloak, please? And also like and they do this like to like when they're in grief or loss or something, like it's a deep meditative thing. So
right.
I don't know, like, man, like
why couldn't Amazon do something like with these people? These people seem like the people that they would have, like, I don't know.
I mean, talk about weirdness. Like, this is like next level weirdness.
Yeah, like I'm trying to know, like, for those of you Tolkien people and history people, what were these people based off of? Because I don't remember in my own, like, mythological medieval
I don't know either
things that can do. I know the dwarves are supposed to have really great, like, relationship with the earth and the ground, but I didn't think, like, I don't know, who are these people based off of? I'm curious about.
Dad, if you're here and please tell us, because yeah, these guys are weird. And they're just like, it's like amazing. I feel like they might have been mentioned in the Lord of the Rings. I honest to God don't remember. But it's like just the depth of Tolkien's, like, how deep his knowledge of his own world went, which, again, how shocking, but it's just like, dude, most authors don't do this. That, like, you have a whole subset of men who don't even show up, and yet you consider them important enough to write this down.
There's European folklore from the Middle Ages about wood spirits or wood woses. Woses? Tolkien kind of loosely based him on that, but puts his own spin on it. Okay, so wood spirits. Okay,
that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. So
yeah,
like, C.S. Lewis talks about them. I can't remember now.
So nymphs.
There you go. Nymphs and
okay. I was like,
never mind. The nymphs are the wood spirits, and what are the water spirits? The druids. Not the druids. It's not the druids.
Not pixies. Nymphs.
Because remember, like,
Jacob. It's not. No, the druids.
No, those are like bards. It'll come to us after the stream is over.
Right. Welcome back, Rosie. But yeah, like, it at the end, though, it's probably in one of the appendices. Talking about, okay, so on 401 appendix 13, it talks about the Puclan is it Puclan?
Dryads. Thank you.
Dryads. Thank you. Nerdiness or Greek water speed. Yeah, they are. Yeah, okay. Because that's kind of what I was thinking, but I was thinking that I was wrong. Dryads are worshipped in trees, and they were real people. Mm-hmm. Yes. More or less kind of where this chapter ties into the previous chapter, on 13, the Druar whatever appears in a map, a decorative map of Middle Earth, and So the Druedain did indeed serve in the Druedain whatever, and they came forth. So basically, these people, when Saruman was taking over, these people helped Rohan. They helped fight back Saruman's forces. And so I don't remember if that actually was talked about in the Two Towers or not. Probably not. But along with the Ents, these people, which makes sense because they love rocks. So trees. So Saruman was literally getting attacked by trees and rocks.
Literally, it was literally.
They took down they took down a Maiar with rocks and sticks. When you really think about it,
they literally took down the strongest of the Astari with trees and rocks.
Go figure.
Go figure.
And they say Tolkien doesn't have irony in his stories.
Right? And just touches of senses of humor.
Sticks and stones.
Well said, Jacob. Well said.
Oh, man. But yeah, like, I wonder if Tolkien did think of that one, and he's like just writing it down, he's giggling to himself. The most powerful being on this face of Middle Earth is gonna get taken down by sticks and stones.
I mean, like, remember how like his kids and his wife would not go on walks with him because he'd stand and stare at a tree for 20 minutes? I mean, he literally wanted the earth to reclaim itself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because like Saruman epitomized his view of modernity, like with the machines and all this stuff. And he's like, no, bruh. All of this is gonna be brought down by sticks and stones.
Yep, basically.
Which is true. Like if you've ever seen abandoned buildings, like another rabbit trail, but I love Japanese like lore and history and stuff. There's an island in a tiny island in Japan that was once a booming center of like during the 20th century, like where they were constantly building things. It had a coal mine. It had it was just a very rich, bustling city. But now it only has like less than 100 people living in it, and you can see literally the earth taking back the buildings, and it looks so creepy and eerie, but it's so cool because you just see like the trees growing where the streets used to be, and like the like tall skyscrapers like being engulfed in moss and stuff. It's just really cool.
There's one of those in like, I don't know if it's Romania, excuse me. It's somewhere in Europe, and it's a really recent housing development, and already like nature's like, nah. Like something fell through with the housing development, like the contractors lost their bid or something happened that they had to stop the building of these homes. And like, yeah, nature's already taken back over. It's really cool to see.
But I do like that. Like even like just that level of detail that and forethought and knowledge that Tolkien had. He's like, one of these days, modernity is going to come crashing down. Because he was a Christian and he believes in the end times. One day, modernity is going to come crashing down, and the earth will swallow it back up. And like he literally made characters and characters based off of trees and rocks. Like literally he what's it called when you make an inanimate object have a personality?
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. Anamorphic.
Yes, that's the word. I was like, I can't remember it, but he basically like did that. He gave the trees and the rocks a voice.
He did.
And he's like, this is what they would say if they had a voice today. Like they would be saying that this is wrong and we're taking it back.
Anthropomorphized. We appreciate your
we have college degrees, ladies.
I know. Get off me.
Anthropomorphism. I got it.
There you go. Well done.
Anthropomorphic personification. Thank
We
you,
have college
Rosie. This is what education does to you people.
Right?
Yeah, Jacob, that's the island. Hashima Island. Yes, you should, like, whenever you guys have a chance, you should Google it. It's so cool. That's a tongue twister. Right, Rosie? Yay, we got it together.
How many people does it take to say one word?
Y'all, like, modern education has failed us as a society. I'm just saying, like,
let's
that's
not go down the education rabbit trail again, but yes, it has.
Right. We'll go on a different rant soon. But yeah, like, I thought, like, even though it was kind of like a boring, I wouldn't say boring. I guess, like, for me, stuff like this is very intriguing. So for me, it was a very intriguing chapter. Like, for most normal people would be like, oh, I don't really care about this. This is stupid. Why do we care about these people that's maybe mentioned like in like a sentence? But like, it's cool to think about, like, literally these people were basically like rock people, but they're humans, and they're not hobbits, they're not dwarves, they're not, like, I'm kind of curious where, like,
okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, my very tired brain just remembered something. Are they not, like, they were friends with the House of Hador?
They were, yeah. Well, the Baorians talked about them because, like, I remember it made a mention that Baor knew of their existence and talked about them. But yes, that is the reason that they came over to Numenor, is because they were friends with Turin and Hurin, and that had the Hadorian of men. Yes, but the Baorians. Baorings knew of their existence, and that's kind of where we get a lot of the lore from, is their observations of these people. Chernobyl is an excellent example of nature reclaiming modernity.
Absolutely.
Blame the Jesuits for me. Every week in high school, we had to memorize and demonstrate that we could use 50 to 100 new English words. That's not counting Latin, Greek, or... Dad, can I go to your school? I want to go to your school, man. I'm not a Jesuit, but dang. On that island, there were really bad mine cave-in, killed a bunch of people, and Japanese closed the island. Yep, that's the backstory on that one. There was an accident. Cool story though. Just kind of a picture of what I believe Tolkien probably, like, foresaw in his mind's eye of what's going to happen to modernity one day. It's really cool and interesting. It's also scary to think about if you think about it too hard. Did we also mention we mentioned their other name, the Pukelmen? And the other interesting thing is they didn't have a language, really. They didn't really have a written language as much as the other children of Iluvatar kind of gave them one. They're like, here's a language, there you go. And they're like, I mean, we kind of can use it, but we're not gonna really use it. So I think that's also why we probably don't get much, since Tolkien's Legendarium is meant to be lived in. That's probably why we don't hear much about them, is because they literally didn't write anything down. They didn't really have a language that, you know, they used that we're aware of, is mostly talking to rocks. But that makes sense why we wouldn't get much about them in his later stories, is because there isn't much to say about them. Wonder how, like, his thought process for living history, like, how many things have we lost in modernity because people didn't write things down?
It's a miracle we have the Epic of Gilgamesh, to be honest with you.
Right? Or anything. Or go ahead.
Well, and that they just found I think it was just a couple of years ago, they found another tablet that needs to go in it. Like, there was a reference to Gilgamesh on this tablet that they found in the Middle East. And they're like, this is literally part of the story. So I need to see if there's an updated version. I wouldn't mind rereading that acid trip.
Right? Or just thinking about how much And this is because I like the Hellenistic period of Western civilization, like understanding how much information and knowledge we lost in the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Let's not talk about that. It's so sickening. I like physically can't stand that thought. I just, oh my god, we lost so much. We lost so much information. I can't.
Yeah, every time, like when I'm reading like because like I'm rereading the Iliad and the Odyssey right now, and just thinking like so much of Homer's work was probably in that library.
Yeah, I legitimately can't stand that thought. I just
right.
Anyways,
they're still working on decoding the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? But like, and these are probably things that Tolkien himself thought about, like because he was a historian, someone who loved education, and we kind of talked about that last week. But yeah, do you have more thoughts on the rock people?
Not really. Rock and roll? We kind of covered everything. I mean, again, it was interesting. It shows the depth of Tolkien's knowledge and like how deeply he thinks about things. But no, I mean, really, that's kind of it.
I will look at the Streamlabs. We have another donation from Silverlock. I think I'm saying that right. $10. Have a great 4th. Yes, have a happy and fantastic 4th of July to all of you as well. And for those of you who might not be noticing the trend, because my little icon is also noticing the trend and the thing, like, since they want to give us a full month of the rainbow, let's give them a full month of the American flag, in my opinion. But that's me, you know. Bob, they rock. Yes, they are rocking and rolling. Let's see. Is there anything like as far as the topics we've already discussed? Because I don't want to dive into my rant just yet.
I'm trying to look through the notes because sometimes we miss things in the notes.
America. Yeah. Or Thad or Rosie or anybody, if you guys have like a note or anything about them that maybe you know that we don't. Because it does, like, they were were they actually in the war with, I think they were in the war with Melkor, or at least some of them, or they were made to stand guard. I think that was one of the things that the Beorings and the people of Hador really renowned them for, was they were the best lookouts. Oh, and that other story. So the story is one of the the rock people. I'm just call them the rock people. The Druedain. Sorry, somebody was going off to defend or to take care of one of their cousins because they gotten struck by a poisoned orc arrow. And so what he did is he made a statue, he put his hand on it, and very similar to how Sauron put his essence into the ring, is how it's described that they can put their essence into the statues. And they've had the statue stand guard while the dude was gone. One of his neighbors was also keeping watch, and they noticed that there was an orc raid on this person's house. But before the neighbor could really do anything to help, the statue had taken down the orcs and taken out the orc fire around the house. And then when the guy got back, he was like, "Oh man, no wonder I got burns on my legs." Like, you remember that story?
Vaguely. Sorry, I'm just like, I'm sorry. Some of this was a little hard to absorb, so I was like, what?
Oh, you're good. I enjoyed the rock story. I thought that was like, oh, that's interesting.
It was, yeah.
It's in the origin of their name. I posted it earlier, said that. The Faithful. Yeah, the story is called The Faithful Stone, for any of you who is keeping up in the Unfinished Tales. But I like the part where they compared it to how Sauron poured his essence into the rings. Like, how these humans were able to do something similar, and like how a lot of the men of Middle Earth assumed that they had very strong magical powers because of these things.
Roman saying goodbye.
Hey, Roman. All right, guys, switching lurk mode off from my walk with Mrs. of the Empire. Wonderful discussion as always. Long live and prosper, Elrond. Yes. Those memes, you memers out there, please give us so much
Keep
good
meming.
memes out of this. Be meming. Do your meme thing. But yeah,
I'm sorry. I literally don't have anything else to say about this chapter. I mean, it was interesting, but it's like, yeah, it's all I got.
That's kind of the theme for Tolkien in general. You can pour so much of your life into something that you lose yourself. Yes. I feel like that's him kind of putting himself into the story for a second, and like the downfalls of how he would pour himself into these stories, because like we talked about it in like various different streams, how like his wife and he didn't have the same, like didn't sleep in the same bed, because like he would just have these thoughts in the middle of the night and start typing and writing them down. Like,
yep.
I bet even though the stories brought, like later on in life, brought a lot of fortune and fame, like how much did the Tolkien family suffer because of it, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's probably why Christopher was really the only one who cared about his father's work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's like, and now that the grandkids and the great grandkids are just like, yeah, we don't care. You have to wonder. I mean, we love him, but you have to wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would not all 5 children be standing and, like, you know, be doing what Christopher was doing?
Right. And that, to kind of put it into, like, other, some friends of mine who are, pastors' kids or missionary kids can, like, I can attest through them that, like, a lot of times that's why pastors' kids and missionary kids kind of stray away, is because their families are so much for the ministry that they forget the primary ministry.
Yeah. And like, and also like cop kids are always, you know, not always, but can be very, you know, difficult to deal with.
Because a lot of times your work or your passions overtake your reason. And that also goes into the marriage counseling dude. Like, I wonder if like Tolkien put these little snippets of his own personal life through these characters. We already did that. Christopher began working on Lord of the Ring material with his dad from a young age. There are actually parts of the Legendarium, like some of the maps that Christopher created. Yeah, and I think that's why Christopher stuck with it, is because he was working on it with his dad. But I wonder, like, the other kids, like, they kind of felt ostracized and
like that their dad had maybe sacrificed a lot of his time with them to work on this Legendarium. You know, I have to wonder if, because I mean, you know, our ideas of what parents should and shouldn't be doing, or how they should nurture their children, have changed over the decades. But you have to wonder if like these kids maybe felt a little neglected, that their dad wasn't, you know, as present with them as he could have been.
Right. My mouse is gone crazy. Okay, there we go. Don't even like the term, it should be tossed into the lake of fire. Yeah, I agree. Like missionary kid or MKs, PKs. Yeah. If that's what you're referring to, Dawn, I agree. I don't like that term. But yeah, I know so many people that walked away from like the faith because of the way they were raised, that it was the church first over them. Oh yeah, no, pastors' kids. Yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page, Dawn. Yeah, I agree. Just because you're the child of a minister doesn't mean you should be treated differently.
Yeah, totally.
Or a famous person, like I'm sure Tolkien's kid, once he got famous, I'm sure their lives would probably turn upside down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that can be traumatizing. So, ja. Do we want to go into my rant?
Don't rant, lady. I'm sorry. Like, I am like, I'm so tired and I'm starving. So I'm like, my energy level is like,
Oh,
and we're
I'm
done.
sorry.
Oh, girl, you're fine.
Coffee is my breakfast on Saturdays. Christopher also fought in World War II, so soldiering is another thing he had in common with his dad. Yeah. Agreed. When you trauma, things like that can have a profound impact on growth and bonding and just yeah. Those were tough times during World War I and II and just all that whole thing. But for those of you who are curious about what my possible rant is, it is actually not really related to Tolkien. I'm sorry if I'm missing something. Rant about what? You're about so Bob, I I am I'm a little salty about some of my IRL friends, and I was mentioning to Elijah that this week, last week, I have gotten nothing but messages and what's the proper term that I should? I'm getting propaganda from my IRL friends about the Roe v. Wade situation, and I know some of you are probably going to roll your eyes and be like, "Okay, I'm done." But here's where the rant comes into play: is starting to get a little emotional. Roe v. Wade has not made women second-class citizens. We are not second-class citizens. Like women, like the understanding that there's so much misinformation out there about like women's rights right now. It's disheartening because all of this, like, just because you don't have the quote unquote right to murder something, like, one, who gives you that right? Like, who gave you the right to, like, what is this? My right, my body, my right. Like, what? Like, so many people are just throwing terms out there that they don't understand. They don't understand the context. They don't, like, I'm so sick and tired of my female friends. When they meet me, they're like, so how does it feel to have less rights than we did back in the 1950s and 60s? The fuck you talking about? The fuck you talking about? Like, what do you mean? We have less rights than we did before the women's suffrage movement. We can still vote. We can still have a job. We get equal pay. We can have benefits. We can work. We can decide not to work from home. We can be pastors if we wanted to. Like, yeah, you're gonna be like probably not as like. So in the ministry world, yes, if there's a man more as qualified as a woman, yes, they're probably going to get the man's probably going to get it. But that's just kind of the understanding. That's a cultural thing. That the my body, my choice. Well, there's another person's body inside of you.
Yeah, where are her rights?
Like there's another person's body inside of you. Like, I don't understand like why, like, for those people, like, I don't know if you've seen the memes about this pregnant lady who has not a human yet on her pregnant.
Okay, let me just say, women are not vampires. We do not give birth to the undead. Let's just be real clear about that. This is a beating heart and has every right to live as much as any other child. That woman, CYFD needs to go to that woman's house. Those kids need a wellness check.
Absolutely. And then people are talking about like, oh, well, the foster care system. I wouldn't want a, kid to go through the foster care. I would rather a kid be alive and have a rough background than not have the chance at all. I had a rough background, or somebody was like, what if they grow up in a poor household? I grew up in a poor household. Like, what's wrong with I'd rather be poor than dead. Like,
yeah, same here.
What are we talking about? Like, what is this? Like, and also, your right to kill the baby is not taken away. Like, it's not. There are states that it's legal.
Unfortunately, mine.
Like, it's still legal. It's just now you have to have the responsibility of voting in your local elections and your your state governments. You're supposed to have your vote's supposed to count more in the state than it does federally anyway. Like, what are we talking about?
And like the thing is, it's like what I can only hope is that this ends hookup culture. Well, not ends, but like hookup culture takes a deep dive, because I think like hookup culture has been like, I mean, I would argue that porn is where we really started destroying society, but hookup culture has like also added a huge issue. And that's like, you know, I feel very strongly about waiting until marriage. And I can only hope that like these women, that hookup culture does start taking a hit on, you know, for this. So yeah, I don't know. It's phenomenal to me to see like the saltiest people are the people who live in blue states, and I'm like, bitch, it's still legal. What's wrong with you? And like UNM sent around this email. They're like, if you need counseling, I'm like, like you're literally saying people need counseling because they can't commit murder now. What is wrong with you? I feel no shame about the fact that I have officially withdrawn from my PhD. I am no longer a PhD student. Life is on a new track. So yeah, it's insane.
And the biggest thing is like Roe v. Wade, in my opinion, as far as constitutional law, was an unconstitutional ruling anyway. That anything that is not specifically spelled out in the Constitution for the federal government to do belongs to the states. It is always supposed to belong to the states. Mm-hmm. The federal government has too much power anyway. Like, for these people, like, I don't want the government to tell me what to do with my body. Like, yeah, they're agreeing with you. Like, yeah, the government shouldn't be telling people, the federal government shouldn't be telling people what to do with their bodies. Like, what?
Yeah, and the whole point of abortion, Don said it, was for eugenics. Like, no joke. This was a Nazi establishment. The whole point was to end the Black population. Mm-hmm. People who don't know that startle me.
Well, also, and people like to give these, like, out there, like, these random, like, yes, people are R-word. Yes, there are things that happen like incest. Yes, but that's not the majority of the people. Like, if you look at the studies, like, I had to do a paper in high school on this topic. I had to argue against it, thankfully. But because I am slightly OCD, I dove into all of the different types and ways that it is done.
Yeah.
It is atrocious.
Yeah.
It is absolutely atrocious. And what they don't tell you is a lot of the times women who have that procedure done have to go back for infections. They're never able to have children again, or something terribly goes wrong during the procedure, but they don't tell you that. Yeah. Like, they don't tell you some of the risks that it is to have that procedure done. Like, a friend of mine in college had it done, and she's now sterile.
Mm-hmm. Well, and my mom knew someone. When I was little, but my mom knew someone through friends of my dad, and so she had one, and for her entire life, and I think to this day, she has dreamed almost every single night the little boy walks into her room and says, "Mom," and then she wakes up. Every night she has had a dream that a little boy walks into her room, says, "Mommy," and she wakes up. That is some deep psychological scarring. Sorry, women are not supposed to lose their children. That is God's gift to us. Like, that is our innate gift that God has blessed us with, that we get to carry children, that we have that honor, and women are not supposed to rip that life out of them.
Like, TikTok and Twitter is where most of these people get their information from. Mm-hmm. They're so uneducated. Like, and it just shows the ignorance by saying, like, we have less rights than we did in the 1950s. We couldn't vote. What are you talking about? Like, women couldn't be on the Supreme Court. There are women on the Supreme Court right now. Like, also, the original ruling was by all white dudes. All straight white dudes said, or who ruled on Roe v. Wade. Like, so, like, talking about, like, if you don't have a uterus, you don't have a say. Like, do you know who made Roe v. Wade a thing? Like, do you know who did it?
Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know, man. It's just, people, I don't know. And I can't help but think that, like, they're gonna give this an excuse to have mostly peaceful protests here pretty soon. I don't know, maybe not. I think maybe Matt Walsh is right that it will not be that bad. I can't remember the prediction Matt Walsh has said, but he essentially said that maybe this time around it won't be so horrible so far as the mostly peaceful protests go. But you know, we've seen, like, I think that woman, I can't remember her name, it starts with an L. She works for a pro-life group, you know, that birthing centers are getting attacked and pro-life centers are getting attacked, and you know, it's scary and sad, but you know, just be praying for their yeah, Rosie, he did. Believe it or not, he did. He said something very optimistic, and it was nice to hear. I love Matt Walsh. I adore Matt Walsh. I love how saucy he is. I think he's fantastic. But yeah, no, he did say, like, his prediction was that it wasn't going to be that bad as it was 2 years ago.
Right.
So I don't know. It just and to me, it doesn't even get down to the ignorance. It gets down to me. It's sad that these women are so out of touch with their femininity. You know, that's why, like, I tweeted out, like, embrace your femininity. Like, that tweet, like, got almost 300 likes. Like, embracing who we are, like, God made us to be. Like, that's when joy enters your life. Like, I have felt so much joy enter my life recently. You know, just like new chapters, new adventures to go on. Like, the level of joy I have felt, like, embracing myself as a woman has just been so nice, and, like, to feel so beautiful. So, like, not all the time, not right now, I'm, like, sitting here sweating, but, like, it's, you know, that's God's gift to us, that we are, and God delights in us embracing our femininity, and that includes having children.
And your femininity and my femininity may look a little bit different. Like, I like t-shirts, ball caps, and pants and tennis shoes, because I'm just more of that sporty kind of person, but that doesn't mean I am less feminine. I like wearing jewelry. Like, I like wearing earrings when, you know, whenever I remember to take them out and not fall asleep in my ear. It hurts. It does. Like, the reason why I'm not wearing more jewelry now is because, like, last year I dislocated a rib and it caused some nerve damage, and so, like, sometimes wearing bracelets and stuff, like, it hurts. But now that I've lost some weight, I can wear my ring again. Also, this is a Rings of Power ring, like, so Lord of the Rings thing. Yes, I am that kind of nerd. But, like, just because, like, somebody's maybe a little bit more tomboy than somebody else, like, doesn't mean that I'm less feminine. Like,
embracing your femininity is going to look different on every girl. Like, you know, it's like, I know it's, like, kind of a running joke since Matt started it about, like, the sundress thing. I'm sorry, I don't want to wear a sundress every freaking day. I don't. I'm not comfortable in them. I'm physically uncomfortable in dresses sometimes. I don't like them. So I'm going to wear them sometimes, but not all the time. But, like, you know, like, the picture I posted, I was in jean shorts and I still felt, like, sexy and strong in what that outfit, you know. It's like, embracing your femininity is going to look different on every woman. We're all going to have different ideas of what that looks like, but at the end of the day, what femininity comes down to is bearing a child and being a mother and being a nurturing, safe space for that child. So yeah,
and kind of going back to the mostly peaceful protests, like, even in my, like, the thing that really kind of got me fired up, and I told Elijah, like, then my new job that I have is a clothing boutique that is a Christian clothing boutique, and we support different pregnancy centers and different options for women who are in crisis. Just this past week, it got vandalized, it got broken into, and where I work is connected to them. And there was literally yesterday a protest across the street from where I work of women, like so it is literally in front of my face, and I can't deny it. And I'm so sick and tired of stuff like that. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are you, like, people keep saying that the church isn't giving us options. Well, it's because you keep trying to burn down the churches. You keep trying to burn down the centers that are trying to help people who maybe don't want to, like, who think that abortion is, yeah, it could be an option, but like, we're trying to show that it's not the only one. Like, that's the thing, is it's not the only one. And there are so many ministries, there's so many organizations out there that are willing to help women in crisis, or who have unwanted pregnancies, or who have these things.
And like, so many there are a lot of firefighting, the fire departments, like the stations, there are a lot of them are like specifically baby drop-off places. Like, there's no judgment, no questions, no investigation. You come and put the baby in that like designated spot, and they will take care of it. Like, they'll find it a home, they'll get it into the adoption, all that stuff. So, like, say you have a baby and you just can't care for it, like, just take it to a birth station.
And one of the things that people keep talking about is the thing in Texas where they're trying to pass a bill about miscarriage and stuff like that. So having a miscarriage, or having a DOA, so where the baby is not alive.
The chemical, yeah.
Right. Those are different procedures. It's not called an abortion. It's called something else. And so some people are upset, like, about this Texas thing. One, do you live in Texas? If no, don't worry about Texas. That is what the states' rights things is about. If you have friends or family in Texas, tell them to go vote. Tell them to go be involved in their local government. That's like, if you don't like the laws in another state, don't be in that state. Like, that's states.
That's the whole point of federalism. That is what happens when we have federalism, is that red states are going to get redder and blue states are going to get bluer. And that's why I'm so very tired of I mean, I love New Mexico. I love culturally my state, but yeah, sorry. I think we need to wrap this up. I think something's happened. And so
okay, cool. Yeah, no worries. Sorry for those.
No, you're good.
On the rant.
No, you're fine. It's an important rant to be had. So yeah,
mostly just states' rights over federalism, in my opinion. That's my stance. Anyone has a opinion on that, I'm sure I'm going to get it in the comment section later on in this video, but we'll have a fun joust at each other. It's going to be fun. What state do I live in? I live in Arkansas. So yeah. I'm surprised that stuff like this is happening where I live. What do you have going on, lady?
Nothing. I decided not to do a stream this Sunday because it's a holiday weekend. So I actually have nothing really going on. I'm going to try. I've written some scripts for some book reviews I'm doing. I just need to sit and film them. I don't know why, like, filming videos for me is like such a mental hurdle instead of live streams. Live streams,
you and me. So I like filming. I just still hate editing, and because like I say so freaking much, I get annoyed at myself in the videos. I'm like, I hate you. So
yeah. So anyways, so nothing going on for me. I haven't brought this up, but so next weekend we'll probably be finishing up Unfinished Tales, and I'm gonna say this now, that will actually be my last appearance on Literary Soul Sisters. My life has kind of taken a different track. Prayed about it a lot. So I will be stepping away, but I hope every single one of you, and myself included, I will be on this lady, that she takes this show this way and makes this her thing, uses her to grow her channel. So we'll be on my channel for the last time next weekend, and then we're all gonna encourage Mando to keep going and doing her thing. So yeah, next weekend we'll be finishing up the Unfinished Tales, and then next Monday, the 11th, is going to be my very first time on Monday. Max and I are officially switching streaming times. He will be on Sunday. I will be on Monday. And that I am still trying to set up what that stream is going to look like. I still have some ideas. So yeah. So that's literally all I got going on. And I think I do need to bounce because my mom is like waving at me. So with that,
right.
I'm sorry I need to bow out so quickly, but I have something's wrong, so I need to go. So I love you all.
Understand.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you all later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.